TV show online? Or have you ever had to pay your service provider to access those movies or TV shows? If you haven't, you might experience these circumstances if net neutrality dies. Net neutrality enforces internet providers such as Comcast and Verizon to treat customers' traffic equally. It would only benefit us in the future if net neutrality prevails. Due to the increasing popularity and necessity of the internet, net neutrality should become of greater importance. We will present the problem and who it is to blame for that problem. And afterwards, we will present our solution that will resolve the lack of net neutrality.
Net neutrality affects everyone who uses the internet, especially those who pay for the internet via service providers every month. On January 15th of 2014, one of the authors of the Huffington Post named Betsy Isaacson said in the article titled Web 3.0, what the internet could look like without net neutrality. That net neutrality principles are not in order, so internet service providers will be able to charge their customers different rates for different types of speeds on some websites. The article, which was published on the Huffington Post, stated that if net neutrality doesn't exist, internet service providers will be able to transform the internet similar to what cable is today. Today, if you call a cable service, you'll be able to see that they offer different types of packages and bundles containing different channels. This will be similar to what the internet would look like if net neutrality is not existing. They will charge you different rates for different types of websites. If net neutrality does exist, these internet service providers will be forced to treat all of their customers equally and give access to all different types of websites. Therefore, without some solution, the internet will become similar to cable and will discriminate against people of different incomes. The cause of this problem are internet service providers such as Comcast and Verizon.
Net neutrality advocates fear that if the federal government stops enforcing rules to keep the internet free and open, then certain companies will be able to control the internet. According to Alice Hu, a writer of the article Feds Can't Enforce Net Neutrality, they create a system of haves and have-nots. The richest companies could get access to the internet users. Cable operators such as Comcast and Verizon represent a threat to internet openness. They will be free to pick winners and losers among websites and services. So if Netflix wants to keep your internet provider from slowing its data, it will have to pay your provider big money. Cable operators will be able to deliver some sites and services more quickly than others for any reason. Comcast can ask websites such as Steel News to pay a fee to guarantee Comcast customers access to the site. If your site chose to pay, then Verizon could block its users' access to this article because your site was working with a competitor. Without net neutrality, customers will have to deal with the slow speeds, blocked websites, and higher prices.
If net neutrality principles continue to have no effect on internet service providers, we should avoid subscribing to internet providers that do not follow the code of net neutrality. According to an article titled 10% of Americans would quit the internet if net neutrality dies, posted on Wired, a proper solution to this problem concerning net neutrality would be for customers to discontinue their service with internet service providers whom do not follow the code of net neutrality, whether by switching to a different internet service provider or discontinuing use of the internet. This seems like an unlikely choice, but according to Clint Finley, on February 28, 2014, 10% of people, when surveyed, would stop using the internet if net neutrality dies. The article also stated that 71% of people would switch their internet service providers if they stopped following the code will likely convert back to following the neutrality. Without net neutrality, service providers such as Verizon or Comcast, or even Time Warner Cable, would be able to unfairly charge their customers based on the websites that they visit and will be able to alter the speed and quality of those websites. First, we talked about how lack of net neutrality is a problem. Without net neutrality, our internet would become slower and we would have to pay more to view the websites that we view often. Afterwards, we explained that the companies are to blame for that problem. The companies, if net neutrality does not exist, would higher their rates and lower the speed of the websites that we are more likely to visit. Then we explained a solution that we think will fix the lack of net neutrality. If a majority of people stop using a service provider that does not follow the code of net neutrality, this will benefit the net neutrality. If we continue to support net neutrality, we will ultimately get our money's worth and avoid overpaying for internet that is essentially